Hey YouTube, Halo Guy here. I've got some good news today for all the H2A fans out there, especially if you enjoy playing a little Infection here and there, because the H2A Infection map lineup is getting a complete overhaul. So, without any further ado, let's get into it. The Infection game mode within H2A is getting 9 exclusive maps that are created with Infection in mind. Long gone are the days of just simply playing Infection on standard multiplayer maps, created for Slayer and other team-based objective modes. Some of the maps are normal maps that have been edited and forged to better suit the modes, but others are forged from the ground up with Infection in mind. But let's quickly go over each new map and exactly what they entail. First up, we have Breakdown, which is a customised variant of Lockdown with added crates and other cover, which can make playing as the Infected a lot less tedious, as you'll have a lot more cover to move around the map without getting mapped by the Magnum. The destroyable icicles normally at the top of the map have also been removed, and there are a number of explosive Forerunner cores sitting around within the crates. The second map we have is Gravelord, which is again a customised variant of a standard map, but this time Warlord. This variant of the map has the same sort of theme as Breakdown, where the map is just a bunch of crates, barricades and other random pieces of cover scattered around, just to make life a little bit easier for the Infected to move around the map without being easily picked off with the Magnum. Both Breakdown and Gravelord are much better to play and make the encounters more close quarter heavy, which is a good thing for Infection. It's not fun for anyone playing Infection and just getting sniped, or just even if you are sniping across the map. It's a lot funner having to rely on your shotgun, and it gives single Infected players a better chance at sneaking up to survivors and just converting them over. But let's get into the fully forged maps that were made from the ground up. First off, we have Senko by Martian Mall Cop. This map was forged on Skyward and takes the setting of a multi-layered city that is collapsing into you guessed it, a sinkhole. The map features different buildings around the outside, which can be entered. Because of the theme of the map, there is a lot of destruction, with some of the buildings and the bridge in the middle of the map completely wrecked. But because of this, the bridge in the middle of the map functions as a platform, not only to get from one side of the map to the other, but also to get from the bottom to the top. But in short, it's a very destroyed city, with a heavy reliance on close quarters combat, which works well for Infection. Only one gripe with this map: it's not very aesthetically pleasing, it's very grey and concrete, not much utilisation from the metallic blocks, so there's no highlighted colour or anything, so that kind of put me off the map. Next up we have Boarding Pass by Drowsay. This map was forged on a wash and takes the setting of an abandoned train station. Now, if you're familiar with Halo 5's Infection, you may have heard of this map's name. And yes, it's because it is actually a remake of a map in Halo 5's Infection, also called Boarding Pass. But the map is a lot less detailed than the Halo 5 version, due to the inferior forge, but that can only be expected. The train in the middle of the map is still present and enterable, although it's not a great place to try and hold out. Only thing I'll say is that it would have been nice to get maybe a little bit of lighting in some of the rooms, since some of the map can be a bit dark and drab due to it being predominantly inside. But overall, a great map layout. The third map I have here is Drowsay by PA1NTS. Again, it was forged on a wash and is an abandoned oil rig in the middle of the ocean. Once again, this is actually a remake from Halo 5's Infection of the same name, and I'm pretty happy this map made it into the matchmaking lineup, since it's probably one of my favourite Halo 5 Infection maps. Probably due to the fact that I actually got my first Killionaire on this map, so that may influence a little bit of bias on my part. But not much to really say, it's pretty much the same layout, with the bottom section probably still going to be the best place to try and hold out. There's a lot of longer sightlines on this map, so I don't really know how that will end up playing with the Magnum, but we'll have to wait and see how it turns out. Hopefully the Infected don't just spawn and die over and over again across the map, since that's not fun for anyone. Up next is Heyve Maine by Commander Coulson. This was forged on a wash and is a mining facility nested into a canyon. The map is relatively small and features pretty unique hanging and floating geometry for the player to quickly traverse the map, as long as they don't fall into the abyss down below. I feel like a small team of survivors that properly coordinate could probably set up on the middle bridge area and have someone watching one side, someone watching the other side, and the rest looking over the side to pick off as many as possible. But I guess strategies like that could be made for any infection map, and you rarely ever see teams sweating out an infection like they're on the main stage of a HCS World Champion event. But this map aesthetically is probably my favourite out of them all. Everything else just seems so grey and concretey, but this map has a lot of metal and rocks to help bring it to life. We then have the map Scissortail, forged by Oxate Clutch on a wash, and is described as an interior structure overlooking an ocean. And that's exactly what it is. Most of the map is comprised within the structure, which features mostly tight corridors with a couple of more open rooms. There's a balcony area which allows for some extra breathing room, but even still, if you're last man standing, there's still not an awful lot of manoeuvrability even on the balcony. And I can see players getting overrun very easily on this map if your teammates are careless and die early on. This map again does a great job of utilising the more metallic blocks, so it's not just one bland colour throughout the map, which I do really like. There's also a man cannon that will launch the player from the bottom to the top balcony of the map. But yeah, I'm excited to give this one a try. It looks like it'll be pretty intense gameplay wise, which is always a positive in my eyes. Next up is Spillway, forged on the awash canvas by Martian Mallcup once again, and takes the form of an abandoned skate park. The map has all the features you'd expect out of a skate park, with ramps, half pipes, tunnels and rails, all well utilising the various forged blocks to create the geometry. Because of the different ramps, the geometry is completely unique from any other map in the playlist, which has a nice level of diversity we don't normally see from maps outside of Halo 5's Forge. However, I do have a slight gripe with the map. There's one very open spot which gives insane sightlines across the entire map, and the routes leading up to the spot have very minimal cover. So I can definitely see dead games taking place a lot on this map, where all survivors just sit up there with their magnums and pick off the two infected before they even get close. So a revision for that part of the map will most likely be necessary, if I'm being completely honest. Last up we have Villa de Pina by Canadian Echo on the awash canvas. This map is a small town along the coastline, and straight away I have to say it looks 10 times better than Senko. The buildings look like actual buildings, and there's a good use of metallic forged pieces, which I've said numerous times is what I like to see on these maps. The actual map is a bit bigger than the other maps coming into the playlist, which gives larger sightlines to the survivors, although there are a lot of corners and routes to cover, so it will be very easy for the infected to sneak around and collapse in on the survivors. So I don't think the long sightlines will be too much of a problem, as long as the infected aren't just running straight down a long road to get to the survivors. But that's all the maps that have just been implemented into the matchmaking. Be sure to hop in and give them a try if you're into Infection and Halo 2 Anniversary. But other than that guys, like the video if you enjoyed, it helps the channel out a ton. Subscribe with notifications if you haven't already to stay up to date with all my latest videos as soon as they go live. I'll be covering all Halo news, big or small, so you'll want to keep up with the channel. I'd like to thank you all for watching till the end, I really appreciate it. I'll see you guys next time, and have a good one.